Maitlis Her winning quality is she doesn't take herself too seriously. Media The Guardian. Newsnight's new lead presenter is described as super smart with a determination to be distinctive. Newsnight's new lead presenter is described as super smart with a determination to be distinctive. When Daniel Craig's James Bond sat down at the bar Inspector and broke with tradition, he had an unlikely person to thank: Maitlis. The the well-connected presenter will hope to have a similarly subtle but significant effect on Newsnight after her this week, heading up the program's first all-woman team. Alongside she is super smart and she is very funny and personable, said Jeremy Vine, who appears on election night coverage with Maitlis. She's got a having been overlooked for the top job in favor of when Jeremy Paxman quit Newsnight in 2014, she now has the chance to shape its identity, which has sometimes struggled to escape the shadow of a presenter who left 5 years ago. She may be hyper-ambitious, but she's managed to make the whole thing look accidental, said one presenter who has worked with her. A lot of smart, Wren, who took over as Newsnight's editor, said Maitlis' success in producing eye-catching comes from her willingness to be involved with the program at every stage, helping to book guests and working closely with researchers. She's one of those people you hear before you see them. She always comes in really enthusiastic and full of energy, said Wren. She wants to be according to Wren, every major interview is game-planned with producers and researchers beforehand, with staff chucking questions at her until she is able to push ahead. They close the door. And the youngest of 3 daughters of Peter and Marion Maitlis, the future television presenter, was born in Canada while her father was teaching at McGill University in Montreal. Peter Maitlis, the means Maitlis will be the only presenter on either the Today program or Newsnight who was not privately educated. She attended King. After graduating, she headed to Hong Kong during the last days of British rule over the colony, having drifted into business journalism with NBC Asia, mixing and debating politics with a group of Britons who included a young banker by the name of Jacob Rees-Mogg. After returning according to former employees, Maitlis made an impact in the Newsnight offices well before she was hired to join the program, after appearing on TV screens in the show's offices. The joke on the program was that when Paxman was presenting, no one was allowed to disturb him for half an hour while she was on air, said one former employee. People would say, after more than a decade on Newsnight, she has become a regular household presence and specialized in US coverage, wants to secure his first UK interview, while her viral grilling of Sean Spicer earned her a. She manages to not be rude like Jeremy Paxman or Andrew Neil, said one executive on a rival program, who said Newsnight still needed to evolve and rethink its style if it wanted to remain relevant. She catches people. Maitlis also hit the front pages 2 years ago when the pay disclosures of top BBC staff showed she earned substantially less than many on-screen men. Since then the effect of the money thing was quite demoralizing for a while, said one BBC insider. She had although she has effectively been the show's lead presenter for some time, this week's formal announcement means Maitlis will usually present the program from Monday to Wednesday, while Wark will take on extra shows and Barnett has been contracted for 20 appearances a year. Both Wark and Maitlis made the final list for the Question Time job at the end of last year, and, although Wren says this did not affect the pair's relationship on Newsnight, which had already to radio before they came in as absolute professionals as they are. In another workplace, Wark said, she looked forward to the new team. I can't think of a better pair of presenting colleagues to have, and a crack production team to boot. Next month Maitlis will launch her book Airhead on the Imperfect Art of Making News, which promises a behind-the-scenes account of Newsnight. Promotional material suggests it will sum up her approach to the industry. The things that are said on camera are only part of the story. Behind every born September 6, 1970. Reporter, NBC News Asia. Business reporter and presenter, Sky News. Host of BBC London News. presenter on BBC News Channel. Host of News Night and presenter on the BBC's election coverage. High point becoming the lead presenter of News Night. Low point discovering she was paid significantly less than many male BBC presenters of equal prominence. What she says: I constantly think how much I live off adrenaline. Not in a cool, what they say. Her characterizations are extreme and outlandish. 2018.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park, pot.